About Crws our session heddiw. Good morning, everyone, and a warm welcome to our session today. I'd also like to give a warm welcome to Rod Williams, who's joining us from Crest. So we're going to talk a little bit, find out a bit more about Crest and the impact of some of the work that we've done with Crest here at Group Llandrith Lomennau. Also sitting in the background is Claire Nightingale from our marketing team. So close to Claire. So as ever in the online world, we've had a few tech hiccups this morning, Rod, so it never quite works as smoothly as you want. So how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well, Lars. Good morning. Hope you're keeping well too. We got
Grand.
there in the end.
Grand. Your sound is there. It's not coming out 100% clear to me, so I don't know if you need to move closer to your mic or not, but we'll just
Is that any better?
Yeah, that's coming through better. So grand. So I'll give a brief introduction to who I am, and then I'll ask you to introduce yourself and give a bit of background to Crest. So for myself, my name is Laurence Cox, and I work as a business mentor here on the North Wales Business Academy program, which has been running since 2017. Basically, we work with organisations across North West Wales to help improve them on their, strategic management capability with a view to future-proofing themselves. As part of that, Crest joined that program in 2019. And in addition, I would just work on Institute Leadership and Management programs here as well. So Rod, if I could ask you if you could introduce, give the watchers and listeners a bit of a background on Crest, and then also yourself and your role at Crest, what that involves.
Yeah, of course. Well, Crest was established in 1998. And we've been at the forefront of social enterprise development in Wales for nearly 21, 22 years. What we do is we provide supportive volunteering training and employment opportunities for socially and economically excluded members of our community. And we've kind of earned a reputation for providing open door opportunities for the hardest to reach. And the support that we provide is a person-centred to ensure that all participants in the ongoing Crest story, if you like, has the very best opportunity to develop personally, socially and economically. We also work with adults with learning disabilities. We work with forces veterans, one being myself. We work with low-risk offenders with a probation contract, have done for over 20 years. And we also work with people with work-limiting conditions. And in addition to that, we have around 50 plus active volunteers. We also engage with local students from the college and also foreign exchange students. We do a lot with Conlam School in Abergele for the boys and girls that come over from Italy. That's worked very well for several years. We're a non-grant reliant organisation. So our income is basically generated through the delivery of contracts, service level agreements, so forth, and public facing services. So our enterprise and activities are primarily around reuse and recycling, and the main focus being on the refurbishment of domestic appliances, white goods, sofas, anything household furniture, and we sell those in our retail shops, which is based in Colwyn Bay on Douglas Road and also on Ferry Farm Road in Badinter Junction, and we're about to open a shop in Rill on Wellington Road in the new year. We also deal with wholesale customers throughout the UK, as far as Scotland and down as far as London. And we also provide a textile recycling curbside service, which is also been branched out to, you can also collect small electrical items, which we test and refurbish also. We employ 32 staff. 10% of those actually were initially engaged through as volunteers or beneficiaries through the programs that we run. And we support in excess of 150 people per annum through the work that we do. We've just earlier this year adapted charitable status, which has helped us because not a lot of people understand what a social enterprise is, but being a local charity tends to be easy to understand, and people are probably more supportive of us. And it also opens other doors to us becoming a charity for things like gift aid. So anyone that wants to donate to Crest can also sign up free of charge as a gift aid donor, and we can claim that 20% back on the sale of that, which goes back into the charity to pay for the wages, the salaries and the overheads. It helps ultimately create more employment in the local community. So my role, sorry, it's a bit long-winded, that my role, I run the business alongside my colleague Jay with the senior management team. I focus primarily on the operational side of the business and dealing with the staff, the contracts, so retaining existing contracts and improving all our services to hopefully attract new business as well. I've been at Crest since 2006, so 14 and a half years. And things are going well. It's been a tough year for everyone, but obviously I'll elaborate that as we go through the interview. But pretty much, hopefully that gives you an idea of what Crest and myself is about.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say, Rod, that most people's interaction might be from having some furniture picked up or going into the shop at Llandudno Junction and that. But as you just outlined there, you work with quite a lot of different sorts of groups, and it's interesting because when we think about where we're moving now, and we now have these words about regenerative economies and circular economies, and the work that you do is right at the heart of that. So we're constantly regenerating, like what you're doing with the white goods there. So very good. So with that in mind, then. We've had COVID. COVID's been a really big challenge to charitable organizations and social enterprises in terms of, places that have shops haven't been able to open and then bring in income. So, in terms of COVID, what has been the impact on Crest?
It's had a big impact, Laurence, not only on the business, but also on the health and well-being of our staff and beneficiaries. We've obviously, like everyone else, we were pretty much forced to close down for the initial lockdown period. Apart from three of us, which was pretty much the senior management team to make sure the business was ticking over and our doors are still open for families in crisis that needed our support. So yeah, I mean, it's had an impact, obviously financially. Again, people have struggled being at home. So we've had to try and think differently and think outside the box and keep in regular contact with all our staff and beneficiaries. The only blessing for us, I guess, is that we planned refurbishments that were taking place. So the contractors were able to do that with no disruption with customers and staff being around. So if there's anything to take out of it, I'm always looking for a positive out of a negative. We were able to get that work completed without any disruption there. But I think more worrying for us as an organisation is the increase in the demand for our services, more so with families in crisis who have unfortunately found themselves out of work, being made redundant. Rising costs, as we know, is increasing. So that's been really, really difficult to see, especially in our own community in Conwy, which is relatively known as an affluent area. And I think it's quite surprising for people that maybe, don't know an organisation like Crest or don't see it day to day. I think they'd be surprised how much of an issue there is locally, and the needs for that is increasing day by day. So the latest lockdown, the circuit breaker, if you like, the 2-week one, we stayed open. We're now classed as key workers, and thankfully we did stay open, Lars, because our doors and our phone was inundated with requests for furniture, for essential white goods. We've donated an awful lot of stuff, and that's the thing. I think the message to get across to people is by supporting a local charity, not just Crest, but we are one of them, is that any profits that we generate, because we do need to make a profit to keep people in employment, keep the business running, pay for the overheads and so forth, those profits go back into helping real, genuine local people who need our support. So we've helped countless families out and donated free of charge fridges, washing machines, cookers, sofas, beds, delivered it free of charge, installed it as well. And we're only allowed to do that by making profits from the kind donations of people within Conwy and Dempsey and the surrounding areas. So it is that sort of educational thing as well. It's not just chucking it out or getting rid or whatever, but actually what they're doing is helping other people out in their community. And that, I think, you can't put a price on that,
Okay. No, and you make a good point, because relatively Conwy is regarded, like you say, as a more affluent area. But I think one of the things with COVID is it's, focused people's minds on the different parts of our society and those parts that maybe are struggling and need support. And, as you've seen with Crest, people are coming out then and saying, actually, no, we might be okay, but actually there are others who aren't. So let's help them. So Grant, thank you. So we're coming up to Nadolig, to Christmas. What does that mean for Crest? Is there anything special that you do in the run up to Christmas, or is there anything special that happens in terms of what people need from your services, or that roll into Christmas, what does that mean for Crest?
Well, we've been inundated with donations such as bric-a-brac and clothes. I think mainly because people have been having a clear out during the lockdown. So we've found that our storage capacity is decreasing, but it's great that people are thinking of us. And in the run up to Christmas, well, times are hard anyway. It's a stressful time for a lot of people, a lot of families, especially those that found themselves unfortunate to be out of work. What we're doing is trying to get sort of toys and bric-a-brac and packages together for the youngsters. We're also doing furniture for fibre sales. We've done 2 recently, which have proved really, really popular in our Colwyn Bay store. So we want to do more of that. And also we're focusing on the white goods, essential goods that people need. A lot of people tend to have family around at Christmas and maybe put a fridge in the garage or an extra washing machine on there. So we're kind of focusing on families really, and we need that feedback as well, constructive feedback from our customers and beneficiaries to tell us what do they need. Because we think we know what they need because we work with them day in, day out, but the needs change all the time. So we're really, really open to some feedback and some constructive feedback as well, which will help us improve our services for the community.
Yeah, no, that's good. So if I move it on then, yourself and Steve came on the Strategic Business Analysis program, which sounds like a big program, but involved 2 days you coming into us. That was back in, I think, spring 2019. So what is that, doing that program, what has that brought to you and Crest, do you feel, from the work that you did with us then?
That program was really, really inspiring, Ross. I think about it a lot, actually. It really opened my eyes, and I know I speak on behalf of Steve because we speak regularly about it. And it really fed into our business plan. Our business plan was outdated, and we needed to pull it together and modernise it and look to the future. And it made me think a lot different, actually, about involving all of the staff, all the beneficiaries from top to bottom, so they feed into it and we get their buy-in to the plan as well. Because it's all good and well just devising something and just delivering it to the staff. But what I found with that approach in the past, being under previous jobs and managers that I've worked under, is that you don't feel part of it. You don't feel like you've had any say. You feel like it's just a document that's gathering dust and it's not actually having any impact on the organisation. So having attended that and worked with yourself on it, it really, really benefits us to come back. And we've now delivered a working document of a 3 to 5 year business plan. And I say a working document because it will change as we go along, because the community's needs change, business needs change. We've had COVID, for example. And also the staff needs change. They need support and resources and training as we go along to make sure that they're part of the journey with us. So it really enlightened me and opened my eyes. And I've got the document still that I did in the college by my desk, and I regularly refer to it. And actually update when we have our heads of department meeting, we kind of touch base on that and use it as a kind of like a template document to say, okay, let's feed off this, keep it going, keep it working. Massive benefit, and so much so I've actually signed up a number of other staff to be able to carry on to do other courses. That's sort of spring off the Northwell Business Academy one. Massive benefit to us it was.
Yeah, and that's nice to hear from our perspective, because the whole idea from the program is it has an impact back for people and organizations. And you made a good point there in terms of that leads to other things, because from the work that we do with an organization like yourselves, then that leads on to other things that organizations identify in terms of wanting to develop people or develop their organization as well. So that'd be grand. So and again, we've had other staff from Crest then come through, which has been nice to see, and to see that development. And also that the piece of work wasn't just left in a cupboard or a file somewhere, but that, like you say, it's a working document, that continues to be used. So lovely.
Right. They have an added benefit, Lars, sorry to cut across there, because we're also, as part of the business plan, we've included a succession plan, because we've got some members of staff, not an aging workforce, but some are coming near retirement. And what we're trying to do is make sure that we bring in the new fresh blood through, and rather than just one individual having that knowledge and contacts, and we're making that more of a committee. So, for example, we have one of our senior members of the team who's probably about less than 2 years away from retirement, and has a lot of knowledge, a lot of contacts in the community. But if that person went off sick or left the business overnight, or God forbid something happened, then that's all wiped out overnight. So what we're doing
Yeah.
is an active succession plan. And again, the Academy really made us think long and hard at ourselves and thought, you know what, we're not prepared for this. We're really not prepared.
Yeah.
And I even include myself, if I got run over by a bus stop, but I've still got a few more working years left in me. But if something did happen, where would all that knowledge that I gained over the last 14 and a half, 15 years in the sector go? So we're actively implementing that because of the Academy courses. And not only that, we've then expanded into the marketing courses as well as some other things that we've discussed there. So I would definitely highly recommend it to any business, not just the third sector organisation, any business, because it really, really gets you thinking. Where it's sort of uncomfortable initially, but then when you start digging down, I actually enjoyed the exercise.
Good.
Because I've involved the staff at all levels, I'm finding they're engaging so much more. Where initially they were a bit like me, thinking, where do we go with it? What does this mean? Are you leaving? No, we're not leaving anyway. But actually, what it is, if I can go on 2 weeks holiday, I'm not worried about my phone ringing all the time or an emergency happening. I've got a team around me who can actually calmly and confidently and have the confidence to actually pick up the business and carry it on. It's really, really helpful.
That's good. Thank you for that feedback, Rod. And you're right, succession is really important. You know, we have a lot of family businesses across North Wales, and that transition from one generation to the next, it doesn't always go right. So, and it does take time, like you said, and you don't want to lose, because suddenly that knowledge and experience that you lose, so often it isn't apparent until that individual has left, and you go, but preparing for that. So no, that's really good to hear. So listen, we've come to the end of our questions. So thank you very much. I'm going to ask Claire to come back in, because some of our listeners and watchers may be wanting to ask us some questions. So let's hope it's not a trial like I'm a celebrity, will get me out of here, but we'll see. If you're an Australian watching this, I'm sorry, we've got the celebrities here in North Wales this year. So Claire, over to you.
Hi, Laurence. Yeah, just question just about if there are other businesses or social enterprises, how can they get involved and join the Academy?
First point of contact is probably to have a look at our website, nwba.ac.uk. And then there's email contacts from there. You can get in touch with us. We also have a presence on our LinkedIn and Facebook as well. And then we can advise you. We have a number of courses, and then we'd have a chat with you. And then from there, in terms of the program that Rod came on, the next SBA, that next program will start in January 2021.
We also just have a little question about, COVID response, and has any of the training changed as a result of COVID? Anything that people can take advantage of, businesses can take advantage of at present?
Yeah, there's two answers to that. One answer is that we identified from the work that we were working with, because as a result of the program, we've worked with over 250 organizations in North Wales. And as we were working with various organizations as COVID and we went into lockdown, we started to identify, some businesses were thriving, but a lot of businesses were just surviving, and some were even looking at, not surviving. And it was a real challenge to their existing model, how they did things. So we've developed a second course that we call the IRB, Innovate and Reshape the Business course. So if people are fundamentally looking at, right, I've got to go back to square one or fundamentally change how we do things, that's a program that we've developed over the course of the summer and have launched. It's a more intense program than the SBA, but the flip side is it also has more mentor support. I think that's the key point to say, the program that Rod and Crest were on, we work as mentors with the organizations as well. So it's not just a case of coming on a course and going away. We actually come and follow up with one-to-one. So you get an opportunity to, have someone look at your organization with objective eyes. So, and in terms of the SBA itself, one of the things when we started the program in 2017, we've constantly updated it. So, we're very clear that we're operating in an environment which is constantly changing. And, one of the key things of the program was to get people to think longer term and look at that external environment. And COVID has actually brought that front and center, because suddenly something that happened way off the other side of the world is now impacting all of us in a big way. And that thread just runs through. We keep the program current, and the feedback from the organizations that come on it has told us that, and that's important for us.
Are there any taster sessions at the moment then? I'll let you talk about that if there are, and then can we give the final word to Rod, just in case there's anything he would like to just close off on. And that's my last question for you, Laurence.
You've caught me on the hop there, Claire, because I haven't got the next IRB or SBA taster to hand, but I do know it's here somewhere. So
we'll post. We'll send me after, and I'll post a link under here for anyone who's
we just did an SBA taster last Friday, so and I think we've got one scheduled for early December. So just before Christmas, So if we go over to Rod now. So Rod, is there anything else you'd like to say before I close the session out?
Just a message really to anyone out in the community that needs any support or help. At Crest are here, and we practice what we preach, whether it's in a voluntary capacity, some training, some confidence building, or actually need some essential goods for the household, whatever it may be, just come and talk to us. Either contact myself directly on 01492 596 783, or privately if you want to do an email, whatever it is, whatever communication suits them. We're here to help, and we are genuinely here for the community. And just a quick note really on the Trafodaeth College for the support that they've given us, and ongoing support, I have to say, not just during the course. It's been a massive impact to us, and happy to speak to any potential employers that are thinking of going to attend the courses or sending their staff on. Happy to speak with them privately about that and the benefits that it's given Crest.
That's great, Rod. Thank you very much. So obviously, you're there to help. Christmas, I guess we're all looking forward to it because of the year that it's been, but for some folks it is a struggle, and we've got people who have lost jobs and that. So you're right, there is help out there. So if you're thinking, reach out, folks. And also if you want to find out more, speak to Rod about his experience in the program, then you've got an invite there. So Diolch fawr iawn, pawb. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today and watching. Good luck with the rest of your day, and depend with us the weekend. So from Rod, myself and Claire, hwyl.